The promise has been broken. The very concept of permanence in the United Kingdom is under direct assault. For millions of people, indefinite leave to remain is more than just a visa stamp, it is the finish line, the bedrock of a life, the solemn reward for years of following every rule, paying every tax, and contributing to the fabric of British society. Now, Nigel Farage and Reform UK have declared their intention to take a sledgehammer to that foundation. This is not a minor policy tweak or a tightening of the rules. This is a plan to abolish permanent residency as we know it, and in a move that has sent a shockwave of fear through communities across the country, they have vowed to make this change retrospective.
They're being put in 4-star hotels, 3 meals a day, pocket money, free medical care, free dental care, and a chance to work illegally at the same time. We're a soft touch. We're a soft touch. I mean, what sane country says that you can access the benefit system as quickly as you can in this country? You know, you can't have freedom of movement of people at any level or open borders at any level, all the while you've got a social security system.
Today we expose the 4 terrifying pillars of this radical agenda. We will reveal the plan to turn every settled person into a perpetual temporary visitor. We will dissect the new impossible gauntlet they want to create for anyone wishing to stay. We will uncover the cynical truth behind the fantasy number they are using to sell this plan. And most importantly, we will explore the political bombshell that is the proposal to strip settled status from those who already have it, forcing them back into a system they thought they had escaped forever. Before we unpack this political earthquake, you must treat this as a critical national alert. Give this video a thumbs up. This is not about party politics. It is about the stability of millions of lives and the very integrity of the UK's promises to the world. Share it now with every British citizen, every visa holder, and every person with indefinite leave to remain. To my subscribers, you know that understanding the details is our best defence. If you are new, and the idea that your permanent status could be revoked by a politician's decree terrifies you, subscribe this set. The rulebook is being set on fire, and this is your guide to the ashes. The first and most fundamental pillar of this proposal is the complete and total abolition of indefinite leave to remain. For decades, ILR has been the cornerstone of the UK immigration system. It is the social contract in action. It provides security, the right to work without restriction, and the ability to access services as a full member of society. It is the point at which you can finally buy a home with confidence, get a mortgage without punitive interest rates, plan your children's university education, and breathe a collective sigh of relief as a family. Reform UK wants to eliminate this entirely. In its place, they propose a system of perpetual temporary visas, forcing every migrant to reapply and requalify for their right to live here every 5 years for the rest of their lives. This transforms the United Kingdom from a country where you can build a permanent home into a country where you are a permanent guest, a temporary worker whose right to stay is constantly under review and subject to the political winds of the day. It creates a life of endless anxiety, endless paperwork, and endless escalating fees, turning every family into a recurring revenue stream for the Home Office. This is not a pathway to integration. It is a blueprint for a two-tier society, where one group has security and the other has a lifetime of probation. The second pillar is the new, impossible gauntlet designed to replace the current settlement path. Even to qualify for this new, weaker, rolling temporary visa, the requirements would be drastically hardened into a filter for the ultra-wealthy. First, the qualifying period to even be considered would be extended from 5 years to 7 years. That is 2 more years of crippling uncertainty, 2 more years of being unable to fully commit, 2 more years of telling your children that you still don't know if this is their forever home. Second, applicants would face a significantly higher salary threshold, a brutal financial barrier designed to exclude many of the skilled and essential workers who keep our public services and industries running: the nurses, the care workers, the engineers, the junior doctors. Third, there would be a tougher standard of English required. Another hurdle to trip people up late in the process. And crucially, they plan to introduce even tighter restrictions on bringing spouses and children to the UK. This creates a cruel and inhumane choice. Come to the UK to fill a skills gap, but leave your family behind. It is a vision of an atomized, transient workforce, not a cohesive, family-oriented society. And to complete the hostile environment, this new visa would explicitly ban any access to benefits, leaving individuals and families utterly exposed and vulnerable in the event of a sudden job loss, a serious illness, or a national economic crisis. The third pillar is the fantasy number, the fiscal deception used to justify this brutal upheaval. In an extraordinary claim, Reform UK has stated that these changes would save the country a staggering £234 billion. To put that into perspective, that is more than the entire annual budget of the National Health Service and 5 times what the UK currently spends on national defence. It is a headline-grabbing number designed to make the policy sound like a masterstroke of fiscal genius. But when you look closer, the entire justification evaporates into thin air. This figure is based on a disputed estimate from the Centre for Policy Studies think tank. Crucially, the think tank itself has since disowned the calculation. If you go to their website, a clear note explicitly warns that the figures are subject to the dispute and that the overall cost estimates should no longer be used. A Labour source was quick to point out that Farage's plan had fallen apart before it was even fully announced, calling it not even half-baked and highlighting that Reform's only answer is don't know. This is not a serious economic plan. It is a political deception, using a colossal, discredited number to sell a policy whose real costs in human suffering, economic instability and reputational damage to the UK would be immeasurable. This brings us to the fourth and most shocking pillar of the plan, the one that violates every principle of fairness and legal certainty, making the changes retrospective. Zia Youssef, Reform UK's policy chief, has stated in black and white in The Telegraph that they will abolish ILR altogether, including rescinding it retrospectively. This is the political bombshell. This means that the hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people who already hold indefinite leave to remain, who are legally and permanently settled in the UK, would have that status stripped from them. They would be forced to reapply for the new, stricter temporary visa, and many would fail. Think about the sheer chaos of that. A doctor who has worked in the NHS for 20 years, a teacher who has educated a generation of British children, an entrepreneur who has built a business and created dozens of jobs, all of them, despite holding a status that was meant to be permanent, would be thrown back into the immigration system. Youssef specifically targets what he calls the Boris wave, the hundreds of thousands of skilled workers who came to the UK under the post-Brexit rules and are now beginning to qualify for settlement. The plan is to pull the rug out from under them at the last second and then go back for everyone who came before them. The stated goal is to force businesses to train British workers to replace them, a move that would trigger unprecedented labour shortages, legal challenges, and force hundreds of thousands of settled, integrated people out of the country. This is the reality of the future Reform UK is proposing. It is a future where no promise is sacred, no status is truly permanent, and your right to live in the home you have built is subject to constant review and the whims of populist politics. It is a plan that would unleash legal and economic chaos on a scale never seen before, turning the lives of millions of law-abiding, tax-paying residents upside down overnight. It weaponizes uncertainty and fear, not as a bug in the system, but as the central feature of it. This is not a serious proposal to manage immigration. It is a radical, ideological crusade against the very idea that a migrant can one day become a full, secure, and permanent member of British society. Thank you for watching. The stakes have never been higher. This is a conversation that every person in the UK needs to be a part of. Share this video because ignorance of this threat is the most dangerous position to be in. Let everyone know that the word permanent may be about to lose all meaning.